Hey, what's going on YouTube? So we are back with another video, and if you guys remember in my last video on EDC or everyday carry, I went over the bag that I've been using as well as my loadout for what's been my everyday carry for essentially the last 6 months, which starts with my Air Duffel Pack 3 and then basically everything I loaded out with. But more recently, I've decided to go a bit more luxury and a bit more premium, to say the least, in my everyday carry. So what we have here today is the Grams28 182 Bento Duffle. So Grams28, for those of you who don't know, is a luxury company that focuses on functionality. Now they are based out of China, but they use 100% Italian full grain leather. One thing that I can say about this bag in general is that not only is the materials in here very, very premium, but the construction quality. The structure of this bag is second to none. I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal. Without question, the best luxury bag I've had the pleasure of owning. Now, is this leather comparable to, say, Hermes or Frank Clegg? Probably not. I would not put it on those levels, but it is very, very high quality leather. So what you'll notice here is the minimal branding. Literally the only branding on this bag is right here on the very front, in front of the laptop sleeve. And what we have here is Grams28. And we also have a series of numbers. Those numbers relate to the model, the tannery, which they source their leather from in Italy, and the style, which in this case is pebbled bovine leather. Now this leather is extremely soft, extremely supple. It comes in pretty soft and pretty supple, but I can also say that after a few rounds of leather conditioner and several weeks of use, it's honestly getting better with time. It's even more soft, more supple, highly durable. You're starting to see the wrinkles and the character develop in the bag quite a bit. Obviously, it hasn't developed any patina. I'm not even sure specifically if this leather will patina or how it will patina over time. One of the things about Grams28 leather that seems to be a bit up in the air is whether or not they use full grain versus top grain leather. They say on their website they use full grain leather, and just judging by the look and the basic imperfections that you'll see with the way this pebble bovine looks, I would lean towards it being full grain leather, but we'll take that with a grain of salt. I mentioned that this thing has had several rounds of conditioning, which I wouldn't say is necessary. The leather, again, is very soft, very supple when it comes in, albeit it was a slight bit dull. What I like to use when I get my leather goods in, I use this for all of my high quality leather goods. I use Saphir leather lotion. It's great for light cleaning and conditioning. I would say probably the highest quality leather good that I own would be my Peter James Travel Humidor. This is also Italian, but this is Italian calfskin leather. So this is Italian pebbled bovine leather, and this is Italian calfskin leather. This came in insanely soft. You could tell it's full grain. No panel, no cut is exactly the same. This is absolutely an amazing case. But again, I use my Saphir leather lotion on this, and it restores the shine. It keeps it soft, it keeps it supple, and it removes any dirt and anything like that. So again, one of the things I absolutely love about this bag is the utility and the function, right? I could have went with any brand I want. I could have bought a Frank Clegg, I could have bought an Hermes, I could have bought whatever, but I chose to go with this because this is a brand that I feel like strikes a happy medium between luxury and functionality. A lot of times, if you're paying for those super, super high-end luxury bags, you're paying for the name and you're paying for the material, right? So you may get a bag that has an H on it, or you may get a bag that has super, super high quality leather, but then it's lacking a lot of the features of a modern functional bag. Getting into it, here you have an enclosure to keep your straps together. And as you can see with this bag, this actually has a clamshell opening. So this unzips all the way, so you can unfold it like a suitcase. And then real quick, you have your TPU coated zippers. I have zero clue if these are YKK zippers, YKK being the industry standard. but I can tell you that they operate just fine. They're extremely smooth. They don't snag. I haven't had any issues with these. And so, boom, this opens up suitcase style. Now, this is a duffel bag. And what I love about this bag is that it's big enough to carry everything that I would need throughout the course of an entire day. Work, gym, leisure, etc. But it's sleek enough, and the form factor is one that would be comfortable pretty much anywhere. In the gym, at work, walking down the street, whatever. It doesn't seem or feel out of place, doesn't feel or look too bulky, too big. So this opens up clamshell style, and then you have expandable mesh pockets here. Some of them have zippers, some of them are just wide open pockets. And then these unzip as such. So you could pack this out and be extremely organized and make use of all the space that this thing gives you. You have 24 liters of space to work with here, and even inside these little cubby holes here, on both sides you have hidden zipper pockets. As you guys can see, I've fit 13-inch M4 iPad Pro in there with zero issues. It never felt like it was exposed or going to break. Didn't have any issues with it whatsoever. On top of that, here in the back, luggage pass-through right here. And then you have a space here where you can put your passport if you're traveling. Although when I'm using this for EDC, I usually just put my wallet or something in there. And then you have a laptop sleeve here on the front. Now this one doesn't unzip all the way. As you can see, you have quite a bit of room in there, and I already have some things in there. Lotion, portable MagSafe charger, spare keys. And then obviously you can still put your laptop, documents, whatever in here. And then you have your rings here, which is for your detachable shoulder strap. Now me personally, I don't like the shoulder strap that this generally comes with. It comes with a seatbelt style nylon shoulder strap, which in and of itself does feel high quality. It feels extremely smooth, nice to the touch, but it's not that comfortable. It doesn't have a pad on it. It's pretty much all nylon, with the exception of where it attaches here. There's some leather that reinforces those attachment points, but outside of that, it's pretty much all nylon, and it is not the most comfortable strap. To show you guys how this thing will pack out, so I'm going to show you guys how I generally pack this thing out for my everyday carry. So we have our DOP kit here. So here we have our DOP kit. This is a Peak Design 2-liter DOP kit. And then here we have our Evergoods Cap 2, which is a 2-liter pouch that I use as a tech pouch. So in here I have cables, universal wall charger, big boy anchor, 27,000 milliamp hour battery bank. And then my Cigar travel humidor. And this stuff fits easily, comfortably in here. Boom. Zip that up. Now personally, I actually like to keep these zippers towards the middle, because one thing about having a clamshell style duffel as your EDC is you don't necessarily always have space to unzip this whole thing and sprawl it out. Now if you're traveling and you hit the hotel or wherever the case is, you're traveling on a train, a plane, whatever, this is actually kind of nice, because then you could easily access your stuff. And then we'll also take this notebook, put that there. Also keep some cologne in here. And then on this side, so this is a Grams28 packing cube. It looks pretty small right now, but it's actually very deep. It compresses very well, so we'll uncompress this real quick so you guys can get an idea of how deep this thing is. So in here I have a complete change of clothes for the gym, and I still have ample space to put more stuff. I could put 2 or 3 days worth of clothes in here, no problem. So we zip this back up. Now this is a large, this is their large. It comes free, right? With purchase of one of their duffel bags. Kind of wish it would have came with a small as well. And I also keep a second packing cube in here as well. So this packing cube is from Bag Smart, and the crazy thing is this is their medium. This is Grams28's large. Now I will admit this large holds quite a bit of clothes, But compared to the medium for the Bag Smart, as you guys can see, this is considerably bigger, and this is just the medium. But I will say that the Grams28 does feel like it's made of more premium materials. You even have a leather patch here that doesn't do anything. It's just mostly for looks, but the material itself feels super thick, super premium. The zippers even feel far more heavy duty than what's on here, although I don't have an issue with here. Now, the reason why I carry 2 packing cubes is, one, this is for my clean gym clothes, and this is generally where I put my work clothes, because I usually go from work to the gym. So I'll go to the gym, I'll change into these clothes, I'll put my work clothes in here, fold this one up, and then put this one in here. Boom. That'll take up most of that space. Fold this up, tuck that in there, and then we're good to go. So, but for now, tuck this out. And as you can see, I still have plenty of space because this lays flat. Let's take this 2-liter cap 2, even with this in there, and I can easily fit that in there, no problem. So in reality, even with all of that in there, even with a full change of clothes in here with a packing cube and a spare packing cube, I still have at least 2 liters of usable space just based off of this thing, probably closer to 3 liters when you actually factor in that this internally fits 2 liters, but you have the whole thing itself, probably have about 3 liters of extra space left over. So we'll put this back. And then we'll zip this up, close, and this easily closes back up with very little effort. I don't feel like I'm overloading it. I don't feel like it's losing its shape, right? And then this thing is ready to go. Now, the cons of carrying around an all leather, especially full grain Italian leather, duffel bag, especially if you're talking about carrying it to work, and especially if you work in rugged, potentially dirty areas like I do. You obviously want to care for this a little bit more. You're a bit more conscious about how you're handling it, where you're putting it, versus say like my Air Duffel Pack 3 or, you know, another nylon Cordura X Pack, you know, one of those more fabric-y material, cheaper especially, type bags. Then, you know, you just throw those in, stuff them, put them in, get them, you know, put them where they fit, right? Whereas with a bag like this, you're going to be more cognizant of how you carry it, what you're bumping into, where you put it, setting it on the ground, things like that. And unlike, say, Satchel and Page, right, with some of their bags where they have those metal studs on the bottom, so that way your leather on the bottom of your bag is never fully touching the ground when you sit it down somewhere. This does not have that. So when you're setting this bag down, this bag is on the ground. But outside of that, again, this is full grain leather. It is very, very durable, very tough. You still want to be careful. You still want to clean it on a regular basis. But at the same time, it's not something that, you know, is just going to deteriorate just from day-to-day use. Absolutely love this bag. This has been my daily driver for the last several weeks, and the bag is only getting better. It's breaking in, it's becoming even more soft. Again, this isn't a hard, stiff leather. This comes in soft. But one of the things I do with any of my luxury items when they first come in from wherever I'm getting them from is I'll use the Saphir lotion and I'll give it a nice coat, maybe even 2, just to clean it, condition it. This also contains mink oil, which won't fully waterproof the bag, but it'll help give it some water resistance, right? Because you never know, you might be walking wherever and it just starts to rain or whatever. Now, if that does happen, you want to make sure that, especially with leather goods like this, you want to pat them dry. You don't want them to get soaking wet. You don't want to let the water sit on them. But something like this that contains mink oil will definitely help. And then it'll also improve that luster and that shine, even fresh out of the factory, okay? So this bag over that several weeks has probably had 2 or 3 coats of this Saphir leather lotion, which for a bag that already came in pretty soft and supple has helped tremendously, making it even more so. And as far as like maintaining and keeping that shine, get yourself a decent horsehair leather brush. This isn't anything particularly special. This is from Boot Barn. I used to use it for boots a long time ago, but I repurposed it, cleaned it, repurposed it. Now I use it to maintain my luxury goods. It's a very simple process. You don't necessarily want to use a conditioner and cleaner every single day on your leather if you don't have to. What I'd recommend though is a daily brushing. So whenever you get in from wherever, just give it a nice brush, especially on the seams, to get all that dirt out of there, to keep, because that dirt can ruin the stitching over time as well as ruin your leather. But just to give it a nice little buff, multiple directions. Not only will it help clean your bags, but it'll help agitate the oils in the bag, because you gotta remember, this is skin. So this will agitate the oils in the bags, which will help spread those fatty acids around and help restore the luster and sheen to your bag. Just basic leather care. But this bag from Grams28 runs MSRP $1,000, but you can regularly get this at least 20% off. I know I did. This wasn't sponsored by Grams28. I bought this with my own money, but I did pay roughly $800 for this bag. It is not cheap in the slightest, but I can say that I absolutely love this bag. And to get something this quality from a place like Frank Clegg or Louis Vuitton or Gucci or any other brand name or name that's associated with high quality leather products, you're generally going to pay potentially twice as much as what Grams28 will charge you. And I can tell you straight up, the craftsmanship and the construction, the detail that goes into all this, there's not a stitch out of place on this bag. I have had zero issues with the zippers. Nothing's coming loose. There's no loose threads. Nothing feels like it's falling apart, ripping or tearing. And this bag feels like it's taking to the being beat up on a day-to-day basis extremely well. Granted, I do take care of this bag, but it does seem to be holding up extremely well, and it seems like it's going to age very, very well. I haven't seen any videos on the 182 Duffle, although I've seen several on YouTube on the 181 Voyager, which looks like it's another awesome bag. I just felt like this bag, in terms of its capacity and its functionality, was going to fit my day-to-day life way better, and I'm glad I chose to go with this bag. I have not retired my Air Duffel Pack 3. That is also my day-to-day. So nowadays, I kind of swap this bag out with that bag depending on what my day calls for, right? A heavy day where I'm going to be going to work, I'm going to be moving around a lot after the fact, that I'm going to be in the gym, etc., and I need to carry everything with me comfortably, this is the bag I'm going to go with. However, if it's like super inclement weather, or it's going to be a lighter day where I'm not necessarily going to need to have all of this stuff with me, then I might go with my Air Duffel Pack 3. But again, this is a bag that I am extremely glad that I came across. I hadn't heard of Grams28 prior to this, but I'm definitely looking more into a lot of their other products. I'm not really big into sling bags. I do have a Coach sling backpack for when I'm like stepping out and I don't want to carry something massive. I just want to carry my essentials with me. I might use that as well. I have quite a few other bags in my collection for various use cases, various purposes. Tech bags, laptop bags, sling bags, fanny packs, you guys name it. Wherever I'm going, I like to be prepared to carry what I need when I need it. So that's it though, guys. That's been my brief review of the Grams28 182 Bento Duffle. So catch you guys on the next one.